landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. We was seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high with the devil, I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them cleaning. And then he tried to show you, make sure that you leave them leaking. He said, I'm gonna hold you down when Browns pop up. How you got me moving this dope? Want me and lock up? He said, don't you want the best vertical with the top up? Yeah. Stop, bitch, get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you don't rock. You the plug from by the block up. I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, driven Philly in Texas. Crystals up behind the sky, look for mama. You fucking up the comments, be honest, you seen decent though. I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. Fat, he ain't looking too good. His knees are kind of slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs would have made him crumble. He got a house, mama is living good. Said the feds took it all, he right back in the hood. I see you try to play me, you gave us crack in the 80s. Made us support our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than cars will amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't face me. I guarantee you won't regret it. Remember I said it. No, you can get it. What you saying? I can't win. No, devil, nice try. So until we meet again, I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. We seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high with the devil, I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious. But we been getting fucked up to the side like a mistress. Police patrol a lot because prison became a business. They murder one of us and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush drive a bomb saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even called the post Obama. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die of honor. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' take this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with I.S.U.P.K. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights patting me down. You got nothing that's holding me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I give up my fight. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you give our homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with it, John screaming after he got a knife. He came from my baby spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's tripe, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. As Trayvon, Mike Brown, like High Girlie, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Fernando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. You will see the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high with the devil, I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. You will see the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. Said I pray to die every devil.
Shalom, Most High in Christ. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshai Barakatah to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemar Al-Thab, Hashem Yahshai to all the sisters. I'm Officer of TITHES of Baja of I.S.U.P.K. That's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Under Commanding General YAHANNA, established 1969, 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Today we got a topic. It's about a black man who was beating the brakes off the oppressors, right? The first black heavyweight champion, right? So brief little history. Back in around the turn of the century, when TV, like motion picture, was just getting started, like there was boxing tournaments, and there was like everything, like majority of sports, how it starts. There's always the white league, the oppressor league, then the Negro league, right? So we had a champion in like the Negro part of boxing, and he was basically a champion. He was winning, and basically they wouldn't allow him to fight for the heavyweight championship, right? So that's what we're gonna get into. When he did fight for the heavyweight championship, ooh wee, he was like he was unstoppable, right? He paved the way for many of our heavyweight champions that we see today. So I got a quick video that we're gonna get into. So if I can find it, moment. We got it. Moment. Right, so Jack Johnson, he was a heavyweight boxer. He finally got into, he was finally allowed to fight for the heavyweight championship. He won with the, he won and it was like a no questions win. His,
This is the last surviving
Alright.
membrane.
So he won. The oppressor that he beat when he was knocked down, his corner had to get him up, which is technically illegal. So that, and then they got him up and they allowed him to fight because oppressors, they're thieves anyways. They like to cheat if it works out for them, right? And if you don't believe that oppressors like to cheat and that's who they are till this day, just ask yourself, where are the native Indians and how this country started? Right?
Championship fought in Sydney, Australia, between American boxer Jack Johnson and defending champion Canadian boxer Tommy Burns. Johnson won. The fight wasn't even close, of taunting his opponents and flashing his famous golden smile while he fought. The real ends moments before police stepped into the ring and put a stop to it, preventing Johnson from knocking Burns out. This is the night Jack Johnson became the first black heavyweight champion of the world, in front of 20,000 mostly white spectators and, more importantly, motion picture cameras. Copies of the fight film spread throughout Australia within days, replaying Johnson's effortless victory over and over at screening events attended by
All right, bear with me. We're gonna try this one more time. If you're watching this class, hit the signing link if you want to be a part of the ISUPK. If you want to be in our trooper program, sisters, you can hit the sign-in link as well. Hit the sign-in link. You'll get Hebrew benefits. You'll get a new name. You will get a Hebrew name, right? And you'll get the benefits of being in the ISUPK. And those are some amazing benefits. The kingdom of heaven is in the ISUPK. We just got a few technical difficulties. We're working it out right now.
Of a famous boxing match in 1908, a World Heavyweight Championship, fought in Sydney, Australia between American boxer Jack Johnson and defending champion Canadian boxer Tommy Burns. Johnson won. The fight wasn't even close, and the film displayed signature traits of Johnson's: his habit of taunting his opponents and flashing his famous golden smile while he fought. The reel ends moments before police stepped into the ring and put a stop to it, preventing Johnson from knocking Burns out. This is the night Jack Johnson became the first black heavyweight champion of the world, in front of 20,000 mostly white spectators and, more importantly, motion picture cameras. Copies of the fight film spread throughout Australia within days, replaying Johnson's effortless victory over and over at screening events attended by paying crowds. Pretty soon, that film was seen worldwide. And from the moment Jack Johnson's reign as world heavyweight champion began, a target was on his back. Commercial motion pictures and professional boxing both came to prominence around the turn of the 20th century. Boxing's format, short rounds fought in a stationary ring, lent itself well to early film, with its clunky cameras and relatively short film reels. Film companies would travel around the country projecting reels of prize fights in packed theaters and opera houses. Champions were celebrated as heroes, and that's because boxing, going back centuries, has been wrapped up in themes of identity and pride.
Boxers symbolize their communities, not just their national communities, but also their race.
Teresa Runstetler teaches history at American University and specializes in the intersection of race and sport.
They imagine that boxers in the ring, particularly for interracial fights, that they were almost engaged in this kind of Darwinian struggle, fights between white men and black men. They became a kind of metaphor for race relations. So in other words, if a white man won, it would reinforce ideas of white supremacy. But if a black man won, then it would upend ideas of white supremacy.
As professional boxing, or prize fighting, became more popular around the turn of the century, fights pitting black boxers against white.
So we're gonna hold that right there for a second, and we're gonna get into some scriptures right quick, right? Because we're gonna get into some scriptures right quick, because right now you're seeing like the might of a black man versus the might of the oppressor, the devil the Bible speaks of, right? And just watching that clip, and just you watching sports in general, and you see that the black man, he's dominant in everything he does, right? You can see that we are different from everybody else, right? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are different from everybody else. That's why baseball is going down to the Dominican Republic to recruit the tribe of Simeon to play baseball in its major leagues, right? So we're going to get into why we are different, right? Let me get the book of Leviticus, where am I? Chapter 20. chapter 20, verse 26. Right? So this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. This is what the Lord was telling Moses that of the children of Israel, right? And ye shall be holy unto me, for I the Lord am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. Right? So we're a special people. We are holy unto the Lord, separate. Right? He severed us, right, from every other nation. We're different. That's why we're good at when it comes to schooling, we excel in schooling. Right? Our sisters excel exceedingly in schooling. Right? Damn near half the college is sisters. Right? Brothers are going to college too, but down near half the colleges are sisters. Right? Like that's the when we're talking about like how many people of color, majority of them are the sisters going into these colleges. Right? We're severed. We're a holy people. Right? And that's not the first time that we're being told we're holy. Right? That's why we're stronger than every other nation. That's why we excel in just anything that we put our mind to, we excel in it. Like Tiger Woods wants to play golf because of his black father. He could whack that ball further than any oppressor, right? We're gonna get to Deuteronomy 28. Right, so Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Right, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Right, so when we listen to our power, right, to the Creator and not the oppressor, to observe and to do all his commandments, when we do all his commandments, right, that's what we have to observe and do and listen to diligently, all the commandments, right, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee high on above all nations of the earth. Right, so you're seeing right there that we are separate. Right, we're supposed to be above all the nations on the earth, physically, intellectually. Like we cook better, we dance better, we make better music. Like we give the earth its flavor. Right, like you have oppressors, young oppressors in these suburbs and in these project communities wearing do-rags. Right, they don't have waves. Do-rags are to protect your to get some waves or protect your braids and keep them neat. Right, we give the flavor to the earth. We're above all the nations, and that's why we're stronger. Right, because the Most High is with us, and that's why we're stronger. Right, so let's get we'll watch a couple more minutes of this tape. Yeah.
Boxers were organized at all levels, except for the highest honor in the sport, the heavyweight championship.
There had been a kind of unwritten rule that white heavyweight fighters were not to fight black fighters in title fights.
This de facto line of segregation was called the color line.
And so Jack Johnson, being the best black fighter at the time, struggled to find white opponents.
Johnson, who by 1908 had already defended his separate title of World Colored Heavyweight Champion 17 times, was repeatedly denied a shot at the most prestigious title in the world, until defending champion Tommy Burns accepted his challenge in 1908. And you already know how that turned out.
Burns's defeat at the hands of a Black American fighter disrupted that narrative of white supremacy.
You can see this happening in how newspapers framed the fight. Reporting on Johnson was heavily skewed to appeal to white readers, and overwhelmingly drew attention to his race, sometimes before using his name.
Jack Johnson holding on to the heavyweight crown was just not acceptable in an era of white imperialism, Jim Crow, and global white supremacy.
The search for a white heavyweight to take the title back from Johnson began the night he won it. Former heavyweights claimed they would come out of retirement to fight it, and that a white man must hold the title. The most popular choice among promoters and white boxing fans was James Jeffries, a former heavyweight champion who had retired undefeated in 1905 and was named the only hope of the white race. Johnson, for his part, was ready to defend his title against anyone, the retired Jeffries included. Jeffries was out of shape and hadn't stepped into the ring in over 4 years.
They had him believing that if he just trained a little bit and got back in shape, that he could win and get the heavyweight crown back for the white race.
The pressure and the promise of big money worked. Johnson and Jeffries signed a deal, setting a date for the following year. White press coverage leading up to the fight depicted racist cartoons of an overconfident Johnson
Right. So Johnson wasn't allowed to fight for the heavyweight championship, and when he did, he destroyed that oppressor. Like it was pretty bad. I watched that. You could actually go on YouTube and find these tapes, right, of him fighting, and you could watch the match of him fighting the oppressor, and you could see why they banned that tape. They didn't want it to. They know that we're stronger than them, right? But they don't want everyone else to see it, because once everyone else sees it, it's like now they don't want the slaves to feel like they could try to step to the slave master, right? So they don't want that kind of uprising. They want us to be like the Christian pastor, where we depend on the slave master and we kiss his behind, right? We don't kiss any oppressors behind in the ISUPK. That's not what we're about, right? And we're about in ISUPK, the men in the ISUPK, they're fine gold, right? They're the best thing out, right? Any sister that needs a husband, she needs to look for a man in the ISUPK, right? She wants a husband that's going to love her and protect her and guide her. Most importantly, guide her, right? And show her the correct way to live her life and how to be a princess that she is. She needs to find that man in the ISUPK, because outside of this school, you're not going to find that. Right? What was it? Right. So I got Isaiah 13 and 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, right? So the Black, Hispanic, and Native American man, when not just physically, when you get in the right state of mind, when you are following the Most High, you are more precious than fine gold, right? We're watching Jack Johnson destroy oppressors. You see Floyd Mayweather fight, and who else? Other Jakes in the world that fight or play basketball, and you think that's the end all be all, right? Jay-Z just made a deal with, he sold a company that he was trying to, when he first came out, he made it seem like he was pro-black for his company, and he sold it to the oppressor, right? That's not the end all be all of being a black man, right? That money won't save you. Like, you want to be rich, you got to find your riches in the kingdom of heaven, right? And the Most High will make you rich in the kingdom of heaven, right? You just have to follow his commandments. Be a good son unto the Most High. Were we? Even a man, then the golden wedge of Ophir, right? So our men will be, you'll be more precious than fine gold. Like, you can't go wrong when you're in the ISUPK, right? Meaning, when you're in the ISUPK, you're gonna be following the Most High's commandments. You're not going to deviate from that, right? You're gonna have the Most High in your heart, right? And just our oppressors, beating our oppressors in sports, beating the oppressors in sports doesn't mean like that, like you're the best man for the best black man for the community, right? But Jack Johnson, he was beating these oppressors at sports, right? Where are we? Right, and even like you can see that, like, look at football, right? Those men, they have such warrior energy, right? They're not afraid. Majority of football players are black or Hispanic, right? They're running the football. The whole O line is black. Like, you might have a few oppressors, but majority of the offense line is black. Majority of the defense lines are black, right? And we just have that warrior spirit. That's because our Lord is a man of war, right? He's a man of war, and because he's a man of war and we're his children, we have that warrior spirit in us. Right? So we have that warrior spirit in us, and because we have that warrior spirit in us, we dominate in every physical aspect of sports. Right? But just because you have a warrior spirit, that doesn't mean nothing unless the Lord is with you. Right? You gotta make sure the Lord is with you, right? Because when the Lord's not with you, you're gonna end up like man, what's the short basketball player who got knocked out by the oppressor? Nate Robinson. You're gonna end up a meme. You're gonna end up on the mat in the ring, knocked out by some oppressor standing over you because the Lord is not with you. You're gonna try to go to war with the oppressor, and it's not gonna work because the Lord is not with you. Right? The Lord is not in the Christian church. That is so apparent. Just look at all the murder going on in the ghetto. Everybody in the ghetto is a Christian, right? Every grandma goes to church, or they have a picture of Caesar Borgia in their house. The Lord is not in that Christian church. We're going to get right back into this video, and then we're going to get back into some scriptures.
And predicted his downfall at the hands of Jeffries. This fight, hyped as the battle of the century, was to be a contest of racial supremacy. And, of course, it would all be on camera. The fight was set for July 4th, 1910 in Reno, Nevada, and a massive stadium was constructed, outfitted with 9 motion picture cameras positioned around the ring to document and then commercially distribute the event. On July 4th, Independence Day, over 20,000 spectators crowded inside.
They imagined that this would be the ultimate way to celebrate, to watch Jim Jeffries, their great white hope, beat the crap out of, this uppity, unruly African American who didn't know his place.
Crowds gathered outside in cities all across the US, too, and packed into theaters separated by race because of segregation laws in the US to listen to instantaneous telegram updates of every round, waiting to find out if Jack Johnson, who 9 months earlier knocked out challenger Stanley Ketchel so hard he fell down himself from the momentum, would lose his heavyweight title to Jim Jeffries. But, of course, that didn't happen. In the 15th round, Johnson knocked Jeffries down for the first time in Jeffries' career, waited for him to get up, and when he tried, sent him through the ropes. Jeffries' corner helped him to his feet, which technically should have ended the fight, and let the former champ get punched in the face and thrown to the mat one more time before stepping in to call it. Johnson was once again the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and the nation erupted. Violence broke.
Right, so we're going to stop right there. So as I was saying earlier, the Lord is a man of war. We're his children. We have a warrior spirit. We knock oppressors out, just like you've seen right there. Right? You could find that Exodus 15 verse 3. The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name. Right? So Yahweh is a man of war, and Yahweh is his name. We get that warrior spirit from him. Right? And to show you that we get that warrior spirit from him, you go to Jeremiah 51 and 20. Jeremiah 51 and 20. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. Right? So what we're going to watch next is so after this oppressor lost and his corner had to help him up, and the police who are the slave catchers had to stop the slave from beating up the master, right? And I say that so you can remember what happened to your ancestors, right? You have black people running around today like, I'm not a slave, but you have to go to your oppressor for everything, right? When they took the collars off our necks, they didn't restore us. They didn't right their wrong. They kept power over us, and they employed us, right? Without their employment, we damn near don't eat, right? Now everybody's gonna say, what about the black businesses, right? The black businesses, I took a walk out to Eglinton this Sunday. The black businesses are closing, right? Between COVID and the construction on Eglinton, the black businesses are closing, right? The Lord is not with these black businesses, right? Because the black business owners are not with the Lord. It's that simple, right? So we're going to talk, what are we going to go into next? So we just watched 2 races fight it out. Like 2 races just duked it out. And one race was predominantly stronger than the other, right? The oppressor he doesn't have the strength of the average Jake. The average oppressor does not have the strength of the average Jake, right? Even when it comes to just like once have you ever, like, a Jake when he fights, like, there's times where, see, you got some Jakes, they fight, they're calm. Some Jakes, when they fight, they go like that 0 to 100 real quick, and they turn up on you. And oppressors have no answer for that. That's why every oppressor has a gun, and they know that they don't have no answer for that, so they take their guns and they just wanna get a black man angry, especially in the southern states, especially in Florida, right? So they could get a black man angry and then they could shoot that black man, right? A few states in the United States, they have standard ground laws, right? In Canada, an oppressor will say some out of pocket ish to you, and they just want to see you bug out so they could turn around and attack you. Not even attack you, Salakia. They want you to attack them so they could turn around and call the police. Right? There was this time we were outside, right, in the world, and this is like a story from the world. In the neighborhood, there was an oppressor. He would just always say the most racist, whatever he could think of, right? Just so you could throw a punch at him. As soon as you throw a punch at him, he would call the police, right? Trying to get you locked up, right? So that's the spirit of the oppressor, and we're gonna witness that as we continue into the video. But first, we gotta go into why the black man is inherently stronger than the oppressor Esau, and why majority of the heavyweight champions have been black men. Right? And you can find that answer right in the Bible. So we're going to start at Genesis 25, verse 20, 22. We'll start at 21, right? So, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Verse 22. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, right? So now Rebecca was barren at one time, right? Isaac sent his prayers up to the Lord. The Lord received his prayers, and Rebecca was able to conceive, right? She had twins, right? One of the twins was Jake, who later became Israel, right? That's the 12 tribes, Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And the other child was Esau. He is the devil the Bible speaks of. His line of people have shed the most blood throughout all four corners of the earth. Right? Salakia, where are we? And the children, verse 22, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Right? So she went to try and find out why she's going through this pain. Why is there so much turmoil going on in her stomach? Right? You like if you now I can't speak for the pain of a woman, so I won't even dare attempt to, right? But men know if you got gas pain, like that could be the most terrible pain, right? So now just imagine a sister who's carrying twins, and she has so much pain going on in her stomach that she has to go and find out from the Lord what is going on in her stomach. Right? Verse 23. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb. Right? 2 nations. Like, so that's how you know, like race matters. Who you are matters. Because you're going to find out here. 2 nations are in thy womb. And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Right? And you just look at the oppressor and look at how he operates in the earth. He is inherently different from us. Like, the oppressor doesn't care about anything. The oppressor has made animals go extinct. Right? If there's a grass field, an oppressor thinks to to put concrete in it. That's the oppressor's mind. Like a grass field is not pretty until he puts concrete in it, right? And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger, right? So Esau was the firstborn, right? He was the elder, and he's gonna serve the younger, who's Jacob, right? Verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau, right? So our oppressors, you can see their blood through their skin, right? They are the red people, and they are a hairy people. Jake is smooth, right? We're smooth in everything we do. The way we talk, the way our skin is, like the way we dress, like we're smooth. We'll go to 26. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, right? And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 old when she bare them, right? So we're gonna fast forward, and we're gonna show you, right? So I'm not sure if we got into that part of the video. Well, after that, we'll watch a little bit more of this video, then we'll continue with the rest of these precepts that we got.
Broke out in American cities where anxious crowds had been awaiting the news of the fight.
And they call them race riots, but essentially it was white mob violence against African Americans. It became this kind of attempt to put African Americans back in their place.
At least 19 people died the night of July 4th in the violence following the fight, with hundreds more injured. Fear of further unrest led to an immediate attempt to ban the much-hyped Johnson Jeffries fight film. Black press outlets pointed out the hypocrisy of this ban, like the Afro-American Ledger, which printed, "It was a race question from the start to the finish, for which the Negro was not and is not responsible. The results, riots, deaths, and injuries lie at the door of the white man and his prejudices." The professional world noted that a real fight was advertised and a real fight was had. What more or less could have been expected? Police were instructed to break up screening events.
White authorities were worried about the symbolic implications of the Jack Johnson victory being replayed. They worried that any demonstration of Black victory and any demonstration of white weakness or defeat would undercut the narrative.
Right, so there's no such thing as equality. I just wanted to say that. Like, we just read that there's no such thing as equality, right? Two nations were in a womb, and one will be stronger than the other. It didn't say that one will be equal to the other, right? I think these banners real quick. Right quick, if you're watching this video, you want to be in the school, hit the sign-in buttons. Don't forget, hit the live chat. You can drop any questions, any comments. Hit the thumb up the video, like this video, share this video. Also, don't forget, Commanding General YAHANNA will be on tonight live. It's Monday night. You know how we do it, right? Black Watch, the real black news for the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, right? Black Watch tonight, Monday night, YouTube, 9 p.m. Don't forget it. Right? So we just watched, and they basically spoke about the oppressor getting mad that they lost a match. They probably lost some bets as well, right? They're mad that the black man won. So what does the oppressor do when he's mad? What he does all the time, right? The oppressor, he kills all the time. Like, just that's what he does. He kills. Like, it was a fight. It was a boxing match, not a fight to the death. No one died, but when they lost, they decided to kill us, right? And what the oppressor does is he knows he's only strong in numbers, so they'll group up and they'll catch a Jake caught slipping by himself, or two Jakes or three Jakes, right? And it'll be 20 versus 3. So that's what they do. So that's what they do, and we're gonna show you that spirit, right? Because this is the same thing the oppressors are doing now, or the same thing the oppressors have been doing then. Right? They make deals, they make treaties, and then they go back on it. They watch a sports match, right? In London, they watch a soccer match. They lose that soccer match, and oppressors tear up everything in sight. Right? That's what the oppressors do. They tear up everything in sight. Right? So we're gonna go down to, where were we? That same chapter, verse 34. Right? So we gotta jump up more. So we're in Exodus 25. We're gonna go from 29, right? We're gonna show you the spirit of the oppressor, right? And why he does this. It's just, this is how he's been since his forefather came into the earth, right? So Genesis 25, verse 29. And Jacob sawed pottage, right? So he was making a stew. And Esau came from the field, and he was faint. So Esau he was tired. He was hunting. He came in from the field. He was getting that venison that his father loved. And Esau said to Jacob, "Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint." Therefore was his name called Edom, right? So he wanted to eat. He didn't care if the food was cooked or not. He wanted that bloody meat that was in the pot, right? Our oppressors, that is totally our oppressors right there, right? Oppressors can't try to hide and say that that's not them, right? Who goes to the keg and orders a medium rare steak, right? Some oppressors just want to bite the cow. They don't even care if it's cooked or not. They want that tartar, right? Where it's just gushing of blood. But the Lord said not to eat the blood thereof, right? The life thereof, because life is in the blood. We can't eat blood, right? So we can't. Our food has to be cooked thoroughly. The oppressors, they don't care. They want it. If it's not bleeding, they don't want it, right? And that's how our oppressors are. So you can see that this is their spirit, right? That this is how the oppressors act in the earth today, right now. And Jake said, "Sell me this day thy birthright," right? So you have to remember that there was a prophecy that the elder shall serve the younger. This was before they were born, right? 34. Then Jake gave Esau bread and pottage and lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Esau didn't care about his birthright. See, he didn't care about, because our oppressor, the white man, the devil the Bible speaks of, is so carnal. He only cares about what's in front of him. He doesn't care what he does to the earth as long as the earth is producing, giving him the oil. He doesn't care that he's destroying the earth, digging up all the gold, clear-cutting forests. Right? He doesn't care that he killed a bunch of peaceable people and put them on reservations. He doesn't care that he put crack and heroin in the ghetto and now he wonders why, nor does he care that because of his crack and heroin that he put in the ghetto, black boys are killing each other at a skyrocketing rate. Right? Where are we? So let's go to 27. We gotta jump some more in the story. And that's definitely a good part of the Bible you should read. Right? If you are watching the Sabbath service with us, we'll be there shortly. Sometime soon we'll get to that part. We're not that far off, and we'll break down that whole story for you. Right? So this is verse 27, chapter 27, verse 41. Right? So, okay, so what happens is Esau sells his birthright, and then Jake goes with the help of his mother. His mother, she was an excellent sister because she knew the prophecy and she made sure it came through. She was just completing the work of the Most High, right? And she was an excellent sister. This is what a sister's supposed to do, right? She's supposed to work for the Most High, right? And her husband. Like she's supposed to be about her people, right? So she knew what the prophecy was, and she helped her son get the prophecy, right? Get the blessing. So we're gonna go into it. We've got the time. We're good on time. So we're gonna get to. So Jacob got the blessing. Got Esau's birthright. So he got blessed with that already, right? So Genesis 27, verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. Right? So Jacob got he got the blessing where he was gonna rule. Right? He was gonna be powerful. Right? And this is that same covenant. This is part of that same covenant that the Most High made with Moses, not Salakia, with Abraham. Right? And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also. So now Esau cares about after he's lost, that's when he cares about the win. Right? Where were we? And, oh my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of the heaven from above. And by the sword shalt thou live, and serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have domination, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Right? So Esau was gonna live by the sword, and he would have to serve his brother, right? That's how Canada was established, by the sword. That's how the natives got put onto reservations, by the sword. That's what the police are using to kill brothers in the ghetto right now. The sword, and today's modern day sword, is the gun. Right? Verse 41. So now you're gonna see this is every riot, every time one of our neighborhoods were shot up by oppressors, one of our stores, our businesses were blown up. This is Tulsa, Oklahoma. This is Greenwood, right? This right here, this verse right here, you'll see that when the oppressor is angry, he kills. He wants to kill. He wants to destroy everything. And this is why the Most High separated us. This is why the Most High made sure that Jacob, who is Israel, got the blessing and not Esau. Because if Esau rules the world, you see how Canada and the United States is right now, right? Millionaires with tennis courts, while the reserves don't have running water for the most part. And the water that they do have that runs, they have to boil it, right? You have a people, you said they could be sovereign, but they're not allowed to control their banking, right? Thousands of our sisters have gone missing since 1970 to 2001. That's what happens when the oppressor runs the earth. This is why the Most High made sure that the oppressors wouldn't run the earth if we kept his laws, right? If we're not keeping his laws, the oppressors run the earth now. And it's just something you have to deal with, right? Yeah. Okay. Right? So we're going to get right back into it. Genesis 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, right? So Esau's always hated us. If you wonder why the oppressor hates you, it's because he always hated us. You can't give your love to the oppressor, right? We've been giving our love to the oppressor since the slave ships, man. We've been trying to get less whips, right? We've been trying to give our love to the oppressor, hoping to get some extra food since the slave ships, right? It hasn't worked. You think that because you could empty out your whole bank account and go buy a Benz or a BMW or a Cadillac, that the oppressor loves you? You think that because he gives you a job, he loves you, right? Because he allows you to buy a house, that he loves you? He does not love you, right? You piss off an oppressor just enough, and what do you think is gonna come out his mouth? He's gonna call you a nigger. Like, it's that simple, right? He's gonna call you a nigger. Like, and there's that's just what oppressors do. If he doesn't say that, he's gonna call you a monkey, right? Or he's gonna remind you that you're a slave, right? Salakia. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Right? And that's what happened after this boxing match. They're sore losers. right? And even in their sore losing, they're sore winners. You down there already have the whole country. So you lost one boxing match, right? We're gonna get back into this tape right quick, a little more of it.
Not just in the United States, but in colonies like South Africa, also India, the Philippines.
But the hype that surrounded the fight meant there was no way to completely suppress it.
So it became this kind of Pandora's box, and they tried to shut it. But anytime you make something illegal, you just push it underground. So they criminalized it, but they couldn't ultimately get rid of it.
Congress banned the distribution of all prize fight films in 1912, citing the race feeling stirred up by the exhibition of the Jeffries Johnson moving pictures. But by that point, the film was notorious worldwide. It was the most talked about motion picture of its time, and screenings drew crowds for years following the event. Jack Johnson lost the heavyweight title in 1950 after successfully defending it 8 times. His legacy of crossing the color line and becoming the first black heavyweight champion inspired generations after him. This is a picture of one of his greatest fans in 1968, outside of a theater producing a play called The Great White Hope, which was loosely based on Johnson's life. A legendary heavyweight champion who named Johnson as a major inspiration, Muhammad Ali.
Right? So I did have one more clip that I just wanted to show you. Oh man, hold up 1 second. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen, man. This to let you know what Rebecca was going through right here. So I can 1 second. Move this to This is that one nation will be stronger than the other. So okay. Technical difficulties, bear with me. Right? We read this earlier. One nation will be stronger than the other. Good night. This is one nation will be stronger than the other. That little baby Jake, man, you could just imagine, man. Like, this is what that's what Jack Johnson was doing to these oppressors, right? This is one nation that will be stronger than the other. Israel, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we dominate sports. Like, I went through the list of heavyweight champions for boxing. Now, boxing is a little different because there's like 4 different classes of heavyweight champions, right? But they have a weight class that's like it's basically like a super heavyweight champion, right? And that didn't come out until like the 2000s. But since Jack Johnson, you had a while where there was just oppressors because they were definitely not trying to let another black man in. Hey, shalom, Brother Gary. Shalom, Brother Gary. Throughout for tuning in. Right? We're talking about Jack Johnson. He was the first black heavyweight champion that beat the brakes off the oppressor. Right? So he beat the brakes off the oppressor, and his corner had to jump in to help him get back up after the knockdown. The police had to stop the fight, and this fight was like a viral. It was like a viral tape. Like niggas have been going viral on tape since forever, apparently, right? And they banned it. This tape went viral around the world. This is around the time when motion picture just started, right? So it's that grainy stuff, right? We were playing a little bit of it earlier, right? So Jake, where were we? So Jay basically said like he's waiting to kill his brother. The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother. Every time an oppressor loses to a black, Hispanic, or Native American, or an oppressor decides that black, Hispanic, and Native American is not supposed to have that nice car, nice house. They're not supposed to be walking down the street, right? They're not supposed to be alive. This is the spirit that they're in. They have their father's spirit, right? So he couldn't wait to kill his brother, right? What do we got here? I'm gonna get some John. Look at John 8:4, 8:44, right? Because just like the oppressors are the same killers they were back then, right? The new Americans, right, who are the Romans, are the same Roman killers of back then, right? That same police force that was going through and destroying us. Right? So this is John 8:44. Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your fathers ye will do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth. Right? So you can see it. Esau was a murderer from the beginning. Right? Cain was a murderer from the beginning. Right? That same spirit that's in Cain is the same spirit that's in our oppressors right now. Right? They want to just kill. They like everything to the oppressor is kill. Only the oppressor goes around the world, right, and hunts, because he's a cunning hunter, right? Just like Esau, he was in the field hunting, right? The oppressor, and I seen a picture the other day of an oppressor standing over a dead elephant. And in my mind, I was thinking, why is this oppressor standing over a dead elephant, right? Because he wanted to kill the elephant. But the next question is, like, most cultures, they kill to eat, right? They'll kill something to eat it. The oppressor will kill something just to kill it. And I thought to myself, what do they do? Well, we know what they do with the tusk. They sell the tusk, right? They keep it, make a trophy out of it, have some ivory, right? But what do they do with the rest of the elephant? Like, an oppressor goes and kills a lion. What does he do with the lion? He skins it. What does he do with the carcass? Right? Most cultures kill to eat. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if we go and kill something in the wild, it's because we're hungry. Right? It was because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it. Right? So our oppressors is they're just liars. They speak lies because they want to. Right? They're killers because they want to be killers. Right? I'm gonna get Deuteronomy 32 and 7. Give me a moment. Deuteronomy 32 and 7. One second. Oh, that is the wrong verse. So, okay, we'll get back to that one. So for now, we'll jump to Revelation 18. 18 and 6. Right? So for the crimes that the oppressors have committed, they're going to have to pay for the crimes that they've committed. Right? For the crime of killing 19 people and many more after a boxing match, and for putting the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in slavery, for putting us on the reserves, for just killing us whenever they feel like it, they're going to have to pay for their crimes. Right? They're definitely going to have to pay for their crimes, and we're going to show you that they're going to have to pay for their crimes. And they're gonna have to, because we did 400, they're gonna do damn near 1,000, if not more, in the field. They're gonna have to build up our kingdom fully, right? That's what they're gonna have to do. They're gonna have to build up our kingdom fully, and you have to, like, you want to see that, like, right? Jakes in the world think that sleeping with an oppressor is getting revenge for slavery, right? Jakes in the world, they say that all the time, right? They think that selling dope to the oppressor and getting a little bit of money, right? Like a little bit. It's not money that's gonna change your people. It's not money that's gonna change your whole life, except for get you a criminal record. That's what that money is gonna get you. Right? That's what that money's gonna get you. That money's only gonna get you. It's definitely only gonna get you in thrown in jail or your life taken because you have money and another Jake doesn't, right? But the Most High is gonna reward our oppressors double, right? We got Revelation 18:6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, right? She, like, America, the great Babylon, put us in slavery, right? She rewarded us for slavery. For not keeping the Most High's laws, America rewarded us with the cow, with the cotton fields, right? For not keeping the Most High's laws, black people, Hispanic people, and Native American people, we had to endure a harsh, cold slavery in Canada, right? For not keeping the Most High's laws, we were rewarded by the British and by the Spanish with fields of sugar cane in the hot sun, right? So because of that, the Most High is going to reward her double, right? This this whore called America, called Great Britain, called Spain, like she's going to be rewarded double, right? And double onto her, double according to her works, right? And the cup which she has filled, fill her double, right? How much, verse 7, how much has she glorified herself, right? America and Canada, they put themselves at the, Canada is supposed to be this great nation that goes around and does peace outreach missions in war-torn countries. But that's how they present themselves when that's not the truth. Like what Canada did was they stuffed the Native Americans in the on the reserves. Africville and Nova Scotia, they neglected it. That is a totally, this is a town full of Judites, right? And some of the Canadian born slaves who were here, right? That in that town, they let that town go to waste. They actually decided to use the town as the dump for the rest of the province, right? They would put the garbage from the rest of the province in that town where the blacks were living, right? So she glorifies herself, and they live deliciously off us. Oh, oppressors glorify themselves all the time. An oppressor right now says he is our King Christ, right? They glorify themselves. They have to be the gods. So much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow. and shall see no sorrow. Right? Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning, famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Lord God who judges her. Right? So you, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you don't have to do much. You don't have to, you really don't have to be out there protesting. You need to be in here, right? You want to protest, you gotta come out to Young and Dundas, right? And watch how a real protest is done, right? You want to protest, you gotta come in the ISUPK and learn the truth about your people and the scriptures, and you'll be able to protest in a righteous way for the Lord, right? We think that we gotta get guns and load up on guns, or we gotta march with oppressors and we have to love oppressors, when that's not what you have to do. All you have to do is get in the ISUPK, keep these laws, and just watch the Lord destroy the kingdom, right? You just think about the priests and prophets in the ISUPK have been on the corners screaming about the plagues since before COVID, right? The earth is shut down. The city of Toronto is trying to open up. They're trying. They're trying to peek their head out. It's like when a sniper is on the hill and you're trying to get to the top of the hill, and every time you peek, the sniper's taking shots at you. That's what the Lord is doing with this COVID. The numbers are slightly low, just a little bit, or so they're saying, and they're trying to see if they can open up the city. And man, with all the variants, and just knowing that the Most High is not to be taken as any joke, it would be surprising if the city is able to open up to back what it used to be, right? What am I looking for? We're gonna get to Psalms 55. Psalms 55 and 21. Right? Salaki. So we got Psalms 51, right? Because even though the oppressor said that we're gonna have a boxing match, and your championship, your champion is gonna face our champion, and he's gonna get a chance to win a belt, right? That sounded really nice, didn't it? Like everyone's like, yeah, okay, Jack Johnson, he's gonna win a belt, right? The oppressor, what he really wanted to do was he was looking for a reason to kill you, right? That's why they wouldn't. That he wanted a reason to kill you, and he found it. He said, you know what? We're gonna let this black man fight us, and even if he wins, it's all good because we're just gonna go kill a bunch of them anyways, right? So verse 55, where are we? This is Psalms 55 and 20. He put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, right? So the oppressor always, he doesn't fight the person who could beat him, right? He doesn't fight them square up. He looks for you when you're weak or you're at a state of peace with him. If you tell the oppressor peace, in his mind he's saying, good, okay, I can kill you now. I could go into your land, I could rape, I could steal from you, I could enslave your people. That's what the oppressor says to himself, As soon as you go to him and say peace, right? Right? You got, let's read that one more time, right? He has put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. The children of Gad, right? Just in the northern kingdom in general, damn near every tribe, right? Every tribe was at peace when the oppressor came, right? The tribes did not see the oppressor and say, let's just go to war with them. They're some new people, right? That's not really the spirit of Jake, right? That's not the spirit of the Israelites. We just don't see you and want to go to war. We're more like Israelites are more likely to go to war with themselves over some oppressor that's walking through the neighborhood, right? Depending on how that person was raised and what they've seen, right? Now, there's some Jakes where, yeah, they're just going to get at oppressors. Like they see an oppressor walking through the hood, they're just going to get at it, right? But majority of the Israelites, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they want to love the oppressor, right? The oppressor seen the Native American Indians, and they were at peace with him. He slaughtered them. He put them to the sword. He scalped them and then turned around and said, the Native American Indians are scalping us. Right? That's how you know that just like what we were reading earlier, the oppressor is a liar. He's a liar. He'll scalp a Native American Indian and then go and say, oh, he was trying to do it to us. Right? Slovakia, where are we? Slovakia. So we're in Psalms 55, verse 20. He put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. The oppressor, he said, we're going to have a boxing match. They lost the boxing match. He said, we're going to kill you now. Right? The oppressor has made many covenants with the North American Indian. Every covenant with the North American Indian, the oppressor has broken. Right? They're trying to run a pipeline through Oklahoma through a native reserve right now. They tried to do it with the Wet'suwet'en people, right? The Gadites who are Slovakia, they're the tribe that was on the news. Wet'suwet'en strong. That was the hashtag they were using, right? Where they were trying to stop a pipeline from going through the land that the oppressors said they could have. Right? Now the oppressor wants to put a pipeline through the land, right? And if I'm not mistaken, the controversy was some of the elders that the Gadites elected to be elders, they agreed on this pipeline, right? Those elders are just like Saul, right? The Gadites, you want to elect someone to be chief, and you have a king, YAHANNA, a black man, right? He's black just like you. Just because your skin tone is a little lighter does not, if you're Native American Indian, you're black as well. They hate you just like they hate me. We come from the same father, right? Our king is YAHANNA. We are the people of the Bible. Right? Where were we? Verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Right? Just come have a boxing match with us. Yeah, we'll finally let you fight. It's okay. No, don't worry. It's all good. Just sell this dress for us. Right? Their words are smoother than butter. right? We come in peace. We don't mean you no harm. Just join our Catholic Church, right? Send your son into that room with that priest alone so he can give his confessions, right? Their words are smoother than butter. Jesus loves everybody, right? I'm not racist. I have black friends. Their words are smoother than butter. Where were we? But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords, right? So you think the oppressor loves you? He doesn't. He's just waiting to don't be around like you don't want to be around if the Maple Leafs make it to the finals and lose. You don't want to be around the oppressors, right? They're gonna if you're walking down the street, they're gonna attack you, right? As soon as an oppressor doesn't get a date that he wants, he goes and shoots up a high school, right? Because of coronavirus and the Lord's plague, an oppressor hasn't shot up in high school last year, right? No high schools have been shot up this year because of the Lord's plague, because schools aren't really in session, right? So where are we? Okay, so we're gonna look for where we're going. One second. Let me just find it. Right, so while I look for the next scripture, don't forget Commanding General YAHANNA is going to be live on Black Watch coming up. It's going to be live on Black Watch coming up. If you have any questions about the topic, you can type your questions in. Tomorrow is going to be the Brotherhood class taught by Officer 50 Shari Wan and Officer 50 Rod. If you're looking to be a trooper in the school and receive a Hebrew name, you get the benefits of ensuring your election, right? You want the benefit of knowing that the Lord is going to be with you. Sign the sign-in links and the sign-out links. I'm going to drop the sign-out links right now. We're going to go for probably another 15 minutes. Then I'm going to do the announcements, say the Lord's Prayer, and salute, and go in class. Bear with me for tuning in, for water for tuning in. the sign out links are dropped. Right? So you don't want to forget what the oppressors have done, right? The oppressors, this is nothing new. The oppressors, they decide to kill us every so often, right? You can't forget that the oppressors had your brothers and sisters, your family members in captivity. You can't forget that the oppressors had their knee on a brother's neck for 8 minutes and 45 seconds. If you're gonna say, don't be the brother or sister that says, oh well, slavery didn't happen to me, it was so long ago, why do we have to still keep talking about it? George Floyd wasn't too long ago, right? Eric Garner wasn't too long ago, right? There's Devontae Miller in Canada wasn't too long ago, right? There's brothers and sisters that are being killed on camera for us to see, for it to be replayed over and over again, right? For us to traumatize us. They're leaving nooses on in the Eglinton West area, in predominantly black areas, right? The businesses, the barbershops, there are closing, right? You can't forget what's going on, right? And what's worse is we still are in slavery because we have to go to an oppressor, right? The black community doesn't have money on a whole, doesn't have wealth on a whole. If it did, black businesses wouldn't be closing down during the pandemic, right? We have to remember how they would kidnap our children and put them in residential school and molest them. We have to remember how the Gadite children, the mass graves of Gadite children, of Native American children who were forced into residential schools are, they can still be found till this day, right? The scar and the the PTSD that's passed down through in our blood. It's damn near passed down, right? Like as a child. Children, I seen a clip the other day where a child was playing basketball on his driveway. The police, in the clip, you see the child hide behind the car. And you're like, why did this child just hide behind the car? In that same clip, about a few seconds later, you see a police cruiser go by. That child can't be no more than, that child's definitely under 12. And he's hiding from police cruisers, right? That we have to remember what they did to our family, right? They're not gonna get away with it. They'll never get away with it. The Most High is gonna repay them, right, for what they did. He who leadeth into captivity is going to go into captivity. They were killing us with the sword. They're going to die by that same sword. Yahweh Shai is going to deal with them, right? It's like you don't have to worry. You just have to put your faith in the Most High, right? But having faith is not what the Christians say. I'm covered in the blood of Jesus. Having that faith is living how the Most High wanted you to live, keeping His commandments. Right, so we're going to get Deuteronomy 32 and where is it? 7, right? Because you got to remember what happened to us. Remember the days of old, right? Remember the slavery they put us in. Don't forget that slavery. You have to remember it. You can't forget that slavery at all. right? You have to remember how they blew up our cities, how they let our cities go to trash. We have to remember the sister Marie from Quebec who was burnt alive, right? They killed her and they burnt her. We have to remember that, right? Like if you don't remember it, you're gonna when you don't remember about slavery, you're going to find some reason to forgive the white man for everything he's done to you, right? And not remembering about slavery, what have you. Now, obviously, don't just go outside and assault a white man, right? But a Caucasian man will call you a nigger and try to assault you, and you'll take 20 steps back trying to back up for him, and you'll tell him, stop, 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 get away from me. You'll try to film him hoping that's going to stop him, right? A black man walks by you and he steps on your shoe by accident, and you're ready to pull out a gun and kill everybody that's with him. That's what forgetting about slavery does to you. That's what Christianity does to you, right? And you see it, man. You see it so much. Like you're forgetting who the enemy is. You're forgetting that you're at war, right? Whenever another nation kills another nation, that's an act of war. Whenever an oppressor decides he wants to kill a Jake, that's an act of war, right? So back to it, Deuteronomy 32:7. Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations, right? Think about the years of all the generations that have come before you and what they were going through. Ask thy father, and he will show thee. Thy elders, and they will tell thee. Right? So that you gotta just sit back and think about it, man. Go ask your grandma, go ask your aunties what it was like. Go ask your uncles and your father. What was it like growing up for them? Right? They'll tell you. Right? They'll tell you. Not don't forget it. Don't be angry when the next like I seen a conversation. This is in one of those. It's in a Facebook group somewhere. There's a whole bunch of Facebook groups where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they talk about everything except what's going to fix their community. And half the time when you talk about the things that's going to fix their community, they'll let it go in for a second, then they'll delete your post, right? So someone was asking, why do they always have to be making slave movies, right? And I'm tired of seeing them. But don't be tired of seeing that. Let those movies fuel your energy to keep the Most High's laws, right? Be reminded so you separate, so you want to keep the Most High's laws, right? Let those movies remind you that you have to love your brothers and sisters, because nobody loves you except for your brothers and sisters. No other nation loves you. They don't, right? Native Americans are making posts right now that says we have to speak on Asian oppression. The Asians have billions. China has billions. The reserves have zero. The reserves aren't even allowed to have their own banks. Why are you worried about the Asians? The Asians don't think about you. The I.S.U.P.K is thinking about you. Right? What else do we got? Right? So this is going to be the last one that we get into. We're going to go into Isaiah. Isaiah 14:21. Right? Don't ever forget that the oppressors wanted to. Don't ever forget that the oppressors hate you, you have to just remember that you're in the ghetto because the oppressor hates you. You live on a reserve because the oppressor hates you. You have a heart attack every time you see police behind you, regardless if the lights go on or not, because the oppressor hates you, right? If the oppressor didn't hate you, you wouldn't care when the police gets behind you, right? Like, if you're from the city of Toronto, you know about all the police brutality that goes on here. Like, the police, like, damn, the police, they don't be killing niggas like how they do it in America, but they beat the brakes off niggas up here, right? A lot of hospital runs, and they've mastered the technique now where they know how to beat you just good enough that you don't have to go to the hospital, right? So they'll tackle you. Once they tackle you, they'll twist your arm just a little, and then another police officer will jump on you, right? They'll say you're resisting and grind your face in the cement on the sidewalk. They'll grind your cheek off on the sidewalk. If you see how most Black Hispanics and Native Americans are making it into the holding cell, you would think that they were breaking up a fight, right? Or they were jumped, right? So you just have to remember that the oppressors, the white man, the devil, the Bible speaks of, and every nation outside of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they hate you. They're gonna try to kill you. They're definitely going to try to work you into the ground and get everything they can out of you, right? And when you tell an oppressor that you're gonna have to pay for the crime, or an oppressor will basically say, slavery had nothing to do with me, why can't we get along? That's his words that are smoother than butter. Because what he's saying is, why can't you just work in McDonald's for me? Like, I need a Big Mac right now. You're supposed to be making it. What he's saying is, why can't you be the one selling me drugs? I need someone to sell me drugs. It's supposed to be you, right? What he's saying is, slavery had nothing to do with me, is why can't your daughter work in a strip club for me? Right? I need some black girls in the strip club so they could twerk. That's what the oppressor means when he says slavery had nothing to do with him. Because that's the ways he benefits from our slavery. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare slaughter for him. Right? We're going to keep all the Lord's feast days, all his high holy days. We're going to put fringes on the borders of our garments. Right? We're going to not eat pork and shrimp and not do drugs and sleep with whores. We're going to not cut off our beards. We're going to not line up our fades, right? We're going to not sleep with the oppressor or our brother's wives. And that's how we're going to prepare slaughter. And we're going to cry out unto the Lord. And he's going to hear us. We're going to hit the streets and we're going to set up camp and we're going to cry out unto the Lord. And he's going to hear us. Right? So I'm going to leave you with this. Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children. Right? For his children, not like the slave master is dead and gone, but his kids are here. His kids are the ones that are telling us that, nah, we can't give you a mortgage to buy that house right now. His kids are the one that's telling us, keep your effing hands on the wheel or I'm going to blow your brains out. Right? His kids are the ones that's telling us, sorry Jamal, I got to fire you. You came in late too many times. Right? His children are the ones that is telling us that, listen, Leroy, you gotta pay 75% of your check in child support. Right? when the Black, Hispanic, and Native American community, we don't need child support. Like, the cure for child support is the ISUPK, right? You want the cure for the disease that's killing us? It's the ISUPK, right? Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, right? So because of the father's crimes, we're preparing slaughter for the children, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Uh, right? So, Slovakia. That's what we're doing. We're preparing slaughter. That's definitely one of my favorite verses. I'm gonna read it one more time, just so we can hammer it home. Isaiah 14:21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? And that's what Esau does. We were talking about it earlier. They see a green field and they say, nah, that can't be a green field. It needs concrete and skyscrapers and highways. They do not want to see nature. That's why they do the things they do. Like, they were given the fatness of the earth, so they're trying to destroy it. Right? So that's the end of my class. We're going to, I'm going to read the security announcements. Then I'm going to say the Lord's Prayer, give a quick salute, right? Again, I'm Officer TITHES of the I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General YAHANNA, established since 1969, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Clap it up. I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shut themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3, verses 8 to 10. Ma'ashra, which means tenth in Hebrew, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department. Or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up and coming holy convocations. The next up and coming holy convocation is Passover. So yeah, I'm just getting the itinerary for the Passover. The 52nd annual Passover weekend is on its way. I.S.U.P.K presents the 52nd annual Passover weekend under Commanding General YAHANNA. On Thursday, April 22nd, we'll be hosting the annual lamb slaughter. That will be at Hamza Farm, 922 Pertain Way, Rashawn, Texas. That is from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. On Friday, April 23rd, we'll have the Houston pre-Passover mansion party. That's at 1801 Muschieti Road, Cypress, Texas. That's 6 p.m. till whenever. Slovakia. 1 second. April 24th, ISUPK, Slovakia. Saturday, April 24th, ISUPK 52nd Annual Passover, 2021, 1414 9 Prayer Street, Houston, Texas. Sunday, April 25th, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, 1414 9 Prayer Street, Houston, Texas, starting at sundown. Reminder to Akim and Aqua to check isupk.com for any up-and-coming information. Anybody who wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, we're going to say the Lord's Prayer. Men of Israel, Aqua, I'm watching. Sar, which means Slovakia. Imajim, which means to stand. Sar upon Yah. Hakodam, which means turn and face the east. We're going to say the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew, and then in English. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Bara'ah, Ratazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratazak, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Latham Lanawa, Lakam, Kab, Yawan, Wasalak Nawa, Kabwak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabwak Yanawa, Wala'ah, Thavaya Nawa, Wanasai Wan, Abba, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Wahatha Pa'arat, La'alamya, Aman. In English, what we just read, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, Yahweh. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever, so be it. Men of Israel, Aqua, I'm watching. Sar, which means to turn. We're going to give a courtesy salute we're going to give a courtesy salute to the brothers, and then a courtesy salute to the sisters. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai Barakatah. Yad Yamatah, which means hands down. Men of Israel, we're going to give a courtesy salute to the sisters. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shema Alatha Ba'Shem Yahushai. Yad Yamatah, which means hands down. Class dismissed.